Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Emotional Eating Unwrapped. I'm your host, Alana Kessler, and I'm so excited because I have one of my favorite people in the world here today. She actually, if you have gone to my new website, www.bulbyak.com, she styled every single look on that site. So she is one of my favorite people, Samantha Brown.
Hi,
So nice to have you here.
thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you. This is so much fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I'm so excited to talk about everything. I'm so excited to talk about feeling your best in your skin. We're going to talk about inner confidence. Samantha and I share so many core values around confidence, around feeling your best from her perspective as a stylist and from my perspective as an emotional eating and confidence coach. So, I want you to introduce yourself to everyone listening.
Sure. So, hi, thank you again for having me. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with me and my work, I'm a New York based wardrobe stylist. I work with celebrities, I work with stay at home parents, I work with everybody in between. So, executives, business owners, all kinds of different people, all different shapes, sizes, budgets, you name it. I've been doing this for 13 years. I own my own boutique agency. And I recently had a book come out that became a children's book bestseller. So that's pretty much the background on what I've been up to.
Amazing. I'm so happy. Tell us the name of the book
It's called Dressing Up. The book is called Dressing Up.
and tell what is it about?
So it's a story about a little girl who believes her clothes are magically transporting her all over New York City. In actuality, she's just falling asleep in her stroller, as toddlers do. But it sort of epitomizes my business model. It's this idea that if you feel your best, you can do anything, and you might end up anywhere, and amazing doors will open and things will happen for you if you're feeling good. So it's something that starts with how we feel as adults, but I think it's really important to also teach that lesson to children from an early age.
100%. I mean, that's literally the message that I share with women. That's literally why I do what I do. I feel like it's so important to, really know how you want to feel in your body and really embrace that and really embrace the steps that you might have to take to get there, even if it's something that's different, align on the fact that clothing and how you feel in your clothing and how you feel in your body really does inform and make such a huge impact on your ability to feel like you can live in the world and achieve anything.
Yeah.
So where did that belief system for you start from?
I mean, it was kind of ingrained in me my whole life. I grew up with a mother of the 80s, as I like to call her, and she, full face of makeup on every day, high heels on for the grocery store. Like she was always, and still is always dressed for the day. And I think it's a few things. It's in some ways it's almost like a form of manners, right? Like you're putting yourself
Mhm.
together to present to whoever you're interacting with that day. But then the other part of it is that she knows and knew what it took to feel really good. And so I grew up with a parent that prioritized that, and it's been ingrained for a very long time. I mean, I was always interested in fashion. So, like, the creative part of getting dressed was something that I cultivated throughout my years growing up. But
Mhm.
I think that you can always kind of trace back these points to like, who taught me this? Where did this come from? And a lot of it was like learning from examples in my life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean how we are raised, our upbringing, the values of the people around us as children, it really informs our, our worldview.
Yeah.
How did you feel about? Because now I know like you are huge into fashion. You just told me in we were chatting before that you just spent the entire week directing many shows in Fashion Week. So how did how did you feel in yourself about yourself as you started being more involved in the industry of fashion that, as we know, has its own, has its own things when it comes to body image and confidence, and we'll talk about that too.
Sure. I mean, I'll be very honest with you. Like, I have had my own personal struggles with my weight over the years. Like, at my largest size, I was actually bigger than I was 9 months pregnant. So, like, I have been many different sizes in my lifetime. And I also started in the industry when I was only like 13 years old. And so I was really exposed. In those days, there really weren't plus size models. There was no body inclusivity. There was no body positivity movement. So I was kind of like coming of age with my own just typical struggles of adolescence and certain girls developing faster and becoming more womanly and all of this at different times, but then also observing an industry standard that was like very, very heavily um, put on us. With that, I'll say that, I also have tried every single diet out there. Like, you name it, from the Hollywood cookie diet to sugar busters to like isogenics. I mean, like, you name it, I've done it. And I feel like that had a lot to do with just like all of the conflicting messages, all of the different things I was being exposed to. And you kind of can't avoid it. So you have to really figure out who you are along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely feel that throughout any size that I was and wherever things were, if I got dressed for the day and put myself together and just dress the body I had at that time, even if it was difficult sometimes, my day was better. I did
Mm-hmm.
more. I can attribute a lot of different like wins and successes to walking into a room and feeling like I was holding my head high and my posture was better because I was ready in my clothes. And I think that is something I've seen people really struggle with, because women especially love to hide in their clothes. Like, we love
Yeah,
to disappear into our clothes.
100%. And I love to hear that you were able to get there however you felt in your body, because that wasn't the case for me, actually. For me, if I didn't feel good in my body without clothes, it was hard for me to feel good in my body in clothes. And I think
Mhm.
that that's what's so amazing about what you do, because you really you really help women kind of bridge that gap as they're moving through their relationship with their body.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's easier said than done, right? I mean, there were days where I also was hiding. Like, I had a big word. I still love black. I wear tons of black, but I had black for different reasons then, like the oversized, baggy things where I could just try to disappear. Um, but it's definitely something that I work with my clients on, and I see a big difference. Like, I always tell them, because probably over half of my first time clients come to me and say, I'm trying to lose weight, but I want
Mhm.
to buy some things for now, but not too many. And I don't want to spend too much. And I want to make sure it can be tailored. And like, I get this kind of script that I'm super familiar with. And my answer to that is, first of all, we can always tailor things. So, nothing is final, but you're probably more likely to stay motivated and hit your goals along the way in your process if you're putting yourself together every day and feeling
Mhm.
good about the clothes. So you don't have to go out and spend tons of money and buy a whole new wardrobe, but maybe a couple things, just so that you hold your head a little higher and you walk with a little bit more confidence, um, and kind of own it. Like, just, we dress the body you have today, not the body from last year, not the body for 6 months from now. Where we are right now, we have to dress this body every day. It's what we do. So it's a big piece of the puzzle.
100%. How do you see it in so that's your clients, real world women. How do you see it in the fashion industry as an industry?
Sure. So, the industry is interesting, right? Because we are way more inclusive now than we used to be. But one thing that I really, if I can't stress this enough to your readers and your listeners of all of your media, it's this: when you're seeing a curve model or a plus size model featured, she still has perfect proportions for the camera.
Mhm.
So let's just talk about what that looks like. They still have small waists, busts, and hips that are hourglass shape and curvy in a way that wears clothes the way that we're used to seeing it. So whether we're shooting a model who's a size 22 or a size 2, we're talking about a proportion set that isn't necessarily realistic for everybody's body. So, it's hard to not compare ourselves. It's hard to, look at these curvier girls and not say, but I'm still not like that. I mean, the point is to represent more bodies. And yes, we're representing more bodies, but it's still not a perfect science. We're still not giving you the plethora of shapes and sizes that bodies come in.
And why do you think that's the case?
I think we're still working with standards. I think that
Mhm.
even though we're trying to, in a way, pretend that the standards have changed, they haven't really changed. They've widened the spectrum a little bit in terms of the actual size, but the scale of body
Mhm.
part to body part is still pretty similar. It's pretty
I
similar.
think that's such a good distinction, this to make a distinction between size and scale, because you could be a bigger size, but your scale is, not the norm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Is that am I speaking correctly about that?
Totally. I mean, like if you're looking at models that are even just a size 8, 10, 12, you're probably not finding that they have, let's say, a lot of width in the middle with narrow shoulders and narrow hips, right? Like that
Mhm.
shape is not represented in the same way. So just like, take note of it, be aware of it, know that product is still being sold to you. I'm very big on reading the reviews from real people. I love a site that lets you upload a photo of yourself in a garment so you can actually see what
Mhm.
people look like in it. But that's also why there is nothing that can replace shopping in person. And one
Mhm.
thing that I tell my clients all the time, look, I have to source things online. People, online is easy and quick, but it's very, very important to just try it on. So like if you like something, take it into the fitting room and take it in two sizes or three sizes if you have to, and don't be kind of turned off by the idea that it might not like work for you because you've never tried it before.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. What do you feel is the most transformational aspect of your work?
I mean, that's the best part of my work. Like it's fun to do shoots. I love doing these like bigger commercial projects, but the private client styling is so rewarding because people really do feel differently at the end of a session. They're walking out with however many clothes they've decided to bring home with them. They have kind of new ideas and inspiration about how to put them together. But the best part is like in the week or two after that, I get these messages and texts like, hey, guess what? Someone just asked me out. Or, hey, I walked into the office and 4 people complimented my shoes, or like whatever it is. And it
Mhm.
just, it feels like this is all like superficial feedback, but it actually directly impacts your mood, right? And gives you this like dopamine hit
Mhm.
that makes you feel really, really good and proud, and um, it takes a stressor out of your day, to know what you're going to wear when you're walking out into the world. And it really is just a way to kind of show people who you are. Like I love doing the question with my clients of like, what are you trying to say? You have 3 seconds to make that impression. Like, what's the goal here? And when they feel like they've hit it and someone gets them because of what they're wearing, it's very rewarding.
I mean, I can tell you that as a friend and a client of yours, So for me, I completely feel that way, and I really resonate with that, especially the piece where you say that it could sound really superficial and vain.
Hmm.
And I know that a lot of your work is for people to dress the body they have. But like I say about me, and I appreciate that so much. And there are women, myself included, who had a really, really hard time with that. But accepting, maybe that I wanted to change like
Yeah.
lose some weight a little bit to not to make me worthy, not to make me like more, not to make me more, worthy to go shopping, but internally.
Yeah.
Because everyone, my mom used to say this to me all the time. She'd be like, "Buy this; it's so beautiful. Like it looks great on your body." But if I didn't feel good in my body, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. The women who can, I'm like, it's so great. And a lot of the people that are my clients or that listen to this, I really feel like these two things are really important, that they're not superficial. You know, you should dress yourself in a way that you feel excited and proud and fully unleashed to be fully expressed.
Yeah,
And you have to be honest about, are you able to get there? Just because like weight loss isn't going to make you feel fully expressed and confident, neither are clothes, if you have a deeper root as to what you
yeah,
have to work on to be confident.
totally. And I should also say that like there is no part of my business or just how I work with people where if someone wants to lose weight, like, and they're approaching it in a healthy way and in a way that feels productive to their life, I am very much in support of that. You know, like
Mhm.
we are shapeshifters. Like that's that's just how it is. Different times in our lives call for different shapes and different ways of feeling in the way that our bodies change. So I definitely work with people who are on weight loss journeys, and they actually use shopping as like a landmark of celebration throughout hitting whatever their goals are. And I meet people where they are. I think it's really important, probably in all aspects of a consulting business, to meet them where they are, as long as they're not doing something that you think is like really detrimental to their health in some way.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And your own personal journey with, like, did you ever have a journey with your body and shapeshifting or any, and recognizing at different times of your life that maybe there were other things going on or
Oh, for sure. I mean, when I noted earlier that like I was at my heaviest weight, which was more than when I was 9 months pregnant, like when I wasn't pregnant at one point in my 20s. I, looking at that time, that was an indication of so many things I was unhappy in my life with. Like,
Mhm.
professionally was feeling stuck. I was in a relationship that was not right for me. And it's easy to like point my finger at like, that's why this happened. That's why that happened. But I really think what happened was that I just stopped prioritizing myself in the way that I should have given myself attention. And I slipped into bad habits that formed really easily and quickly. And that's how I got there. And like what's also very interesting, because I know that you have multiple ways to work with you and you have like groups that can communicate with each other. When I started that weight loss journey, which kind of ebbed and flowed over the years, but really set me on a path to being more comfortable later into my 20s. I was in a group. I was in a workout group of women, and it was accountability, it was check ins, it was that kind of touch base. And like that methodology, I think just works so incredibly well.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. I'm actually launching something like that with high proximity to me very soon. So
cool.
that's going to be amazing. I love that you love that, because I think so many people sometimes think that they just need one on one, and really having the community of people that know your pain points per se, or really
Yeah,
understand your, um, what you're going through and are going along with you, that maybe aren't so close to you in your inner circle, but become really close to you in other ways. There's a certain anonymity and also a certain vulnerability that
yeah,
can be enjoyed in that process. And so I completely, I completely, um, I completely see how that was such a great journey starting point for you.
yeah, yeah. Super important.
Yeah. And you're a mom.
Yes, I'm a mom. I'm a mom.
And so how old is your baby?
So she'll be 2 in 2 weeks, which is wild. And, it's a lot of these conversations actually bring up so many thoughts about just being a mother and, how we communicate with women and how women are talked to about their bodies and how they feel about their bodies and about eating. I got to tell you, it's
Yep.
really it is so interesting how early it all starts, because I have a toddler and she's a picky toddler, and I find myself struggling with how to talk to her about eating, all the time. And
In
it's
what
like,
way?
because it could be like she just won't eat dinner because she's a toddler, or she'll be like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And all of a sudden you're a short order cook for a 2-year old. And, it's like, okay, I'll put the cartoons on, but you have to eat your dinner. And you don't want to do that. Like you want to just give them the space to eat when they want to eat. They also know their hunger cues, and they're not going to starve themselves. Like they're like little animals. But all this stuff starts so early, and you just do the best you can as a parent, and really try to be aware of what messaging you're giving all along the way.
100%. And it's such an imperfect thing. I have so much more perspective and compassion now for my own mom, and my own upbringing, which I for sure have for sure have my own judgments about, and
Sure.
informed so much of now what I do. But you really realize that it is such an imperfect thing. And
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is how you treat yourself ultimately.
Mm.
That's the most important, that's going to be the most impactful lesson that they
Yeah.
learn. They're not going to remember so much what you did with their dinner. They're going to see how you talk about food, how you talk about your body, and how you talk about wanting to change things about your body if that's the case. You can
Yeah.
always frame that in a positive way and empowering way.
Yeah.
And so I think that is so important, more than these like things right now. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not a parent, but let me know
I
what you
think
think
it's
about
I think it's
that.
all of it. I think everything you're saying, I think all of it's important. I mean, even down to like, we have a scale in our bathroom.
Mm.
Things like that, where all of a sudden I'm like, she sees that that's there. What does that mean for her growing up with that there in the room and stuff? So
Yeah, it's funny because I have such a different, like, I have a potentially controversial opinions about scales. I really feel
yeah.
like it really, like anything, it depends on your motivation. If you're
Okay.
using the scale to hold yourself hostage to some sort of ideal and like keep you accountable, and you're scared of it and hope that you get on it and you can walk out of the bathroom feeling good about yourself, if that's the only thing, then it's a problem. But if
Mhm.
you can relate to the scale as kind of this neutral thing that's keeping you just in touch with your goals of being a certain, of being in a certain range,
Yeah.
because you're confident, because you feel more confident in your clothes, you feel more confident in yourself, you're not preoccupied with feeling, you know fat or whatever it is, whatever you want to say, or bloated or heavier.
Hmm.
I think that it's important that we acknowledge that some of these things are tools
Right.
and they can be
Totally.
spoken about in that way
Totally.
rather than the other way.
Yeah. Like it shouldn't be a
Yeah,
form of punishment. It shouldn't be like this
right.
this bad thing. It's not bad or good. It's a thing in your
It's
bathroom.
neutral. It's
Yeah.
really neutral. Same thing about like ice cream or food, or
Hmm.
it's not a bad food. It's not a bad thing, a scale. It depends on what you think of, it depends on how
Yeah.
you think about it, your
Yeah.
motivation for it. So I definitely think that that to me is such an important message for women, to remember that we really have the power over all of these things,
Yeah.
as long as we are honest with ourselves about what we need to feel good about ourselves. And speaking with you is so great because I agree. Like for me, when I'm dressed, when I'm dressed well and I feel amazing in my clothes, my life feels like it opens up.
Yeah.
It really
Yes.
does.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it really does. I mean, it really, I bet if we ever were to do the research project of like the days in the year when we felt really great, in our clothes versus not, I bet we would see a difference in the way the whole day pans out.
100%. And then if you did like a longer study where you wanted to achieve some goal or, you know, something to happen in your life unrelated to your body,
Yeah.
if that goal was achieved when you felt good in your clothes and when you felt good in your body.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It
Hmm.
would be.
Pin that for the future, Samantha.
Totally.
So this book, I know that we talked about your daughter and how I feel like this book is like a love letter to your daughter. Do you feel
It
that
is.
way?
It is. Yes. Very much so. It's really, I mean, it's based on her first year of life. Like everything that's happened in that book has actually happened. And so it just really inspired the thought of like, what if her beliefs were that it was the clothes that were taking her all over the place and not just me pushing this stroller? And if she thought that, she would really see the magic in what can happen when you feel good. And that's really that it is my love letter to her and to all kids who just enjoy the process of dressing up, just for the sake of that power feeling once they have something on.
I love that so much. So can you share with us where we can get the book, order the book, see you on a
Yes.
book tour somewhere?
Yes. So book tour is coming. It's coming. If you follow my social at Samantha Brown Style, I'll be posting all those dates. I have a lot of really fun events coming up. But for now, it's on Amazon. It's Dressing Up by Samantha Brown. It'll pull up there. And it's also on my site, Samantha Brown Style. So either way, it's also on Barnes and Noble. It'll be available in a bunch of other stores soon.
Amazing. So I will actually put all of your details in the show notes. So it'll all be there. Everyone can get the book. I'm going to get the book. I'm going to get it for my nieces,
Oh, thanks.
and even my nephews, honestly. Why not? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was so amazing. It's always fun to see you.
Me
I
too.
definitely want to see you again. I'm due for a refresh in my closet.
Anytime. Anytime.
Even though now it might have to be on FaceTime because I live in Kentucky.
I know. I know you outed yourself. She moved. Our girl moved.
I know. I can't believe it. Oh
Me
my
too.
God. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to everyone listening. You can find me every week. I release new episodes of the podcast, and you can find me at www.bewellbyak.com, where I give strategies on feeling amazing, eating well, losing weight sustainably. And that's it. So until next time, thank you for listening to Emotional Eating Unwrapped.